everybody, to the 253 All Day Everyday Podcast. My name is Chris, and we are currently on episode 20. Currently looking it up because I forgot to do it before I started this, and I really don't want to have to restart it. 24. We are currently on episode 24. In this episode, it's gonna be a little bit of deviated of the path of the normal restaurant hangout places. This idea came to me while I was walking around in the snow today, and realizing there's gonna be probably some people out there that might have some automotive mishaps out there, and I know, at least in where I work right now. A lot of the body shops out there, the big name ones that your insurance company will randomly just like take your car to, sometimes don't do the best work. But I know some local smaller shops and one or two bigger shops that the people that work there are good. Maybe not the whole company in general, but at least at that shop, people that work there are good and will take care of your car. So here are some of my suggestions on where you should go to get body work done here in Tacoma. You're going to keep it local. I'll kind of go through this kind of quickly type of a situation because I do have a lot of them. But I'll have all the information, phone numbers, addresses, all that fun stuff right below in the section down below. And always remember, hit that subscribe button, give me that nice little thumbs up, and here we go. All right, so the first shop I'm going to be talking about is Tacoma DJs. It is on South Tacoma Way, right by my work, off of 66 and South Tacoma Way. If you're coming from the north end or like downtown, it will be right past the light of 66, and it will be on your left-hand side. And if you're coming from the opposite way, if you're coming from Lakewood, South Tacoma Way, and you're coming that way, it's going to be on your right-hand side. Tacoma DJs, locally owned, from this nice Korean gentleman across the street. It's him, a couple body guys, and his painter. They've been there for probably like 10 or 15 years. I usually suggest that, like, if your grandma gets into an accident, especially if she's Korean and she doesn't speak English that well, I usually try to send them to Elliot because Elliot does speak Korean. So then they know exactly what's going on and what's going to be happening with their car. It's definitely a plus. The next, to keep it moving and keep it pumping out, because actually I have quite a few different ones that I want to talk about. The next one is actually right next door to Tacoma DJs. So if Elliot is busy during the time or whatever and whatnots, or if if the price maybe wasn't your range and you want to go shop around, which is totally cool. Right next door, five-star Autobody. Ben is probably one of the most honest, hardworking people that I've ever met. It's a shop owned by one Vietnamese dude around, like, I think he's like 28, 29. He's my age. Works on your car from start to finish. All the body work, all the painting, all that stuff is done by him. So his times and stuff like that are extended than most body shops because he can only work on one project at a time. He can do multiple projects, especially if they're smaller. He will be available, but his work and the materials that he does get, you are getting top of the line everything. You're getting top of the line paint, you're getting top of the line materials, you're getting top of the line body work because he does it all himself. So, but like I said earlier, it is a one-man shop, so the time frame, the ETAs on your cars are always going to be a little bit longer. But I can't tell you how hardworking and a good guy Ben is, though, in that shop. So, alrighty. So another one that's a little bit bigger, a little bit kind of, I wouldn't say well-known, but they have a bigger operation. This body shop is called Cooper's Collision Corner. It is located in North Adams Street in Tacoma, Washington, so like in the Proctor district. Small owned shop from these two older couple. The gentleman or the husband works in the shop, but they have their own painter. They have a couple more they have like 4 or 5 body guys, and I think they have a mobile booth, and they just have a booth in the back, but they have their full-size paint booth and stuff like that. They use top-of-the-line paint, top-of-the-line materials. They are a staple here in Tacoma. I just tell people to be careful when you do go happen to get an estimate from them. The parking lot is kind of crazy. There has been a lot of accidents actually happen right outside of his shop that kind of keeps him busy, but it is another good shop. They do also have a lift in there, so they do some mechanical work. So you can always ask about that too. So if your car is really messed up and it has to require some mechanical work, Cooper's Collision has it not just the auto body, but they do the mechanical stuff there too. So it's all in one shop, because I know there's sometimes where shops have to ship it out to different places because they don't always have the right mechanics. So alrighty, so the next one that I'm going to be talking about is a little bit bigger, on operation. They have like, I think 3 painters and probably like 8, 9 body guys. I don't think they do mechanical work there, or as much mechanical work. They're just strictly a body shop. But Pacific Motor Company Incorporated. It's off of M.L.K. In Tacoma. This shop is locally owned. Has been there for like 20 plus years. The painters and the body guys there, they're your they're your good typical body guys. They get the job done. They do it right. They're honest. They just, like, any other body shop, they like to have fun too, and they it's a good work environment. So because it is a good work environment in that shop, they get a lot of good work coming out of there also. And they're just a little bit bigger of an operation, so they might be able to give you a more of a competitive price, and the time frames on your cars will be a little bit shorter because they do have more hands on deck. Like I was saying about the first couple ones, DJs, 5 Star, Coopers, they're a little bit more smaller, so the ETAs on your guys' times are going to be probably a little bit bigger on your cars, but you'll still get high quality work on all of these shops. All right, last but not least, this is probably the biggest shop that I would recommend people to. A lot of insurances would take your car here in the first place, but I would say out of all the big box companies, this is the shop that I usually tell people, because I know some people, they feel comfortable when there's a big name behind it, because they don't, the big name company sometimes doesn't want the little people to sue them. So this company, or this shop, is Titus-Will Collision Center, off of South 53rd Street here in Tacoma. Gotta get that water in. This shop is the biggest possible. They have mechanical work done in there. They do all the body work in there, and they do all the painting. They have 2 different paint booths, so there's always constantly projects being done in there. They have 2 painters with like 4 or 5 preppers, and body guys are like 5, 6 body guys, and they have all the makings of a big shop in there. And the 2 painters, man, they take days off maybe like once or twice a year, but they're always working hard too. So, and they've been doing it for years. Their paint jobs are some of the best. Twee and Bernie are the 2 of the best dudes out there. So this shop I cannot recommend enough. I know a lot of insurance companies would appreciate you be taking the Titus-Will, because it is a cheaper, because of the production value, and they do have a bigger overhead for money for them, so they can bring down the prices a little bit more. Their ETAs are sometimes a little bit long, because they always have constant work coming in, so they have to stick onto a schedule. So that is what it is. But everybody at this shop are hardworking, good people. So you're not going to get really shoddy work in this situation, even though it is a big box company. There is a couple places that I guess I would tell you to not really stay away from, but be cautious, throw caution into the wind. Any of the big name ones like Gerber's, Caliber Collisions, just make sure that you get your prices up front, and shop around too, because sometimes those bigger companies, they just hire kind of anybody off the street, so sometimes the work isn't always the best. So, but that is just my precaution into this. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this week's podcast. All of my links are down below. Also, if you're looking for some pictures, if you're looking for my Instagram, if you want to come hang out in my Twitch community, which is growing by the day, that stuff is really actually popping off. And it's becoming a lot of fun also with on top of that. So thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast. Thank you so much. And my name is Chris, and peace.